In this video tutorial, I'm going to introduce you to the topic of check. Once a student has learned all the basic moves of how the pieces move, the next thing that they should learn is what is a check. A check is really important in the game of chess because it leads to how you can win the game, which is by checkmate. A check is when a piece is attacking the king, which is this piece here. You can attack any piece in chess, but in particular when you attack the king, we give it the name of check. The question is asking you how to get out of the check. You can see that the white king is in check because the black knight is attacking the king. And a rule of chess is that you can only move your king to safe squares, so you can't put your king in check. It's simply not allowed. If your opponent puts their king in check, you also are not allowed to capture the king. You must simply tell them that this was an illegal move. They're not allowed to put their king in check, and they have to take it back and make a different move. If they have no moves, that is a checkmate, and the game is over. So in this case, the king is attacked by the knight, and we can take a look at all the squares around the king and see where it can move. You can see that this black rook here is controlling this entire rank, this whole row, so the king can't go to any of these squares. The queen is controlling this whole row, so the king can't go to any of these squares. And the black pawn, which is going down, is controlling this square, and so the king is only left with the e3 square. The next question is asking you to perform a discovered check. A discovered check is still a check, it's still an attack on the king, but you perform this check by moving a piece and opening a line from a piece behind it. So in this example, the check is going to come from the bishop, but the piece you move is in fact this pawn, and this opens a line from the bishop to the king. And that's what makes it called a discovered check. The next question is asking you to perform a double check. A double check is two checks at the same time, and this is usually done by discovering a check as well. And so in this case, we can move our knight to e5, and this gives check with the knight, it attacks the king, but it also opened a check or discovered a check from the rook behind it. This question is again asking you to attack the black king by doing a discovered check. You can see that this black knight is also attacking our king, and so we need to move our king away anyways to get out of this check. The black rook is cutting off this rank, so we can't move our king backwards. We have to move our king up, and in order to give a check to the black king, we need to move it off the d file to open a line from our rook to do a discovered check to the black king. The next question is asking you to attack both black pieces simultaneously or at the same time. You can take your rook and put it on the back rank. This gives a check and attacks the bishop at the same time. And it's called an attack on both of them, but the attack on the king has the special name of check. Another example of this is with the knight. You can play the knight to e6, you attack the king, which is a check, and you also attack the queen. And one final example of checks is the question is asking you, this white king is in check or under attack. How do you get out of this check? The check is coming from the queen. The king cannot capture the queen because the pawn is defending. It can't move to any of these squares because the queen protects all of them. And it can't move to these because it's too close to the black king. So that just leaves c5 for the king. Again, check is a very important topic. The king is the most important and the most valuable piece in the chess game, because once you cannot escape the checks anymore, then you're in what's called checkmate, and that's when the game is lost. So once students have a basic understanding of how all the pieces move, it's very important that they start to understand the importance of check.